Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We just have a few technical, last-minute technical things we're working out. We should be ready to start the program in the next minute or two. Thank you, and please stand by. Well, for those of you taking time from work, a home project, or missing The Price is Right, thanks for spending your morning with us instead. Welcome, everyone, to the 2022 State of Maplewood Address. While we miss these in-person gatherings, these virtual events allow us to invite more people from the community. So far today, more than 100 new people who've never attended one of our events before has joined us. So thank you. Welcome. In a moment, you'll hear from some of our staff, our council, and our city manager. And you'll also hear from the big event, Mayor Mary Lee Abrams. And then we'll start our Q&A. Just for everyone to know, if you want to get involved in the Q&A, there's a chat box there. There's also a Q&A box. So please log your questions in. We'll try to moderate through as many as we can and try to answer many of your questions. But first we have to thank some of our sponsors, Bolton and Mink, for sponsoring today's event. We also want to acknowledge our many, many partners, and I'm not going to get into everybody by name because I always miss someone, and then you guys call my boss and complain and holler at me. So I'm trying to avoid that. But we want to thank our partners from District 622 who are here today, our partners from St. John who are here today, all of our members from our boards, commissions, and committees who help serve the city in a voluntary role. Thank you. We'd be remiss if we didn't thank our not congressional, but our state legislative delegation and our members of the Ramsey County Board of Commissions and any other public, private partner and stakeholder in our community. And now you get to meet the rest of the team, our colleagues who have served senior leadership roles with the city.
I'm Audra Robbins, Parks and Natural Resources Manager.
Mike Mondor, Fire and EMS Chief.
I'm Jeff Thompson. I'm the Community Development Director.
Thanks to a little show called Parks and Recreation, when I start to tell people what I do, most of them say, "You're Leslie Knope." And I'm really more like Ron Swanson, if I'm honest, but they get the main idea.
I say that I work with residents, local businesses, and community organizations to grow, invest in, and develop the city of Maplewood.
One kind of joke that my friends always, they call me an ambulance driver. Or, how's the ambulance driving business going? No, they're not ambulance drivers. They go to 2 years of school to become a paramedic and can do pretty much as a doctor in a lot of our settings. It is not Chicago Fire. We don't sit around a table and wait for a call to come in. We're out in the community. We're building relationships. We're trying to prevent harm.
I like what I do. I think I have the best job in government. If I could be anything else other than what I do today, I'd want to be an airline pilot. It's something I find exciting and thrilling. It's something I always wanted to do when I was a kid.
Well, I would say in the city, I would like to be in communications, specifically Kevin's job, because I could do cool things like fly drones, make videos, and be on the other side of the camera.
Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. I mean, when you work in local government, you're challenged with new issues and new opportunities and every day. And I think learning and continuously growing and learning new things is an important part of that job.
Be nice, because the people that we interact with on a daily basis, they expect us to be experts in putting out a fire or taking care of whatever their clinical needs are. But they'll remember us getting their slippers and making sure that their dog was let out or that their dog was fed before we left.
You don't always have to have the last word, and that's good advice in personal and professional life, and it's easier said than done.
I'm Brian Beardman, the Director of Public Safety.
I'm Michael Folds, IT Director.
I'm Joe Sheeran, the Communications Manager.
I'm Andrea Sint, and I'm the City Clerk.
I tell my family, when you watch goofy videos like this, I'm the guy whose team produces these videos.
I explain it to them. I fix computers on a daily basis or manage a department that fixes computers. And we have all of the technology in the squad cars, plow trucks.
My kids have described me as the night guard because they just didn't know what I did, and I worked 17 years on nights. And then when I had a canine unit, my kids would tell all their friends and family that I trained dogs in the circus. So,
as the keeper of record and having one of the oldest positions in local government history, we are not the fun department. We are the department that is ruled by statutes, ordinances, and codes. When we do elections, there's a huge amount of rules that we have to follow. And may I make a distinction that you don't have to be old to be in the position.
and I think I have one of the best jobs in local government. But if I had to trade, it would be lifeguard, because I get to sit outside in the sun all day. I look at the water and the beautiful scenery.
Oddly enough, NASA has a professional sleeper job in which they pay you to sleep at different angles, sometimes upside down. Probably maybe go out for that.
I probably do GIS. I like maps and I like presenting complex data in a simple manner. Or work at a golf course. I could probably, definitely work at a golf course.
Best piece of advice I've ever received: show up, care, don't be a jerk.
It's just not to reply when you're angry, whether it's a phone message or an email, is to just take some time, cool off, reply when you're a little bit calmer, never reply when you're angry.
Hi, I'm Melinda Coleman and I'm the city manager.
Mike Darrow, I'm the assistant city manager.
Stephen Love, public works director and city engineer.
Ellen Paulseth, and I'm the city's finance director. I usually tell people that I count beans. I help policymakers make good decisions and keep the city on a financially stable path.
What I like telling my kids is I'm locked in an epic battle against Mother Nature and Father Time as I fight to preserve the city's infrastructure against age and weather.
I would be a consultant to the members of Congress, and I would teach them the fine art of negotiation and collaboration, compromise, and maybe put in just a dash of civility.
So if I had to switch jobs with anyone, it would be our maintenance crew. I hold them in such high regard. If anyone sees me with a hammer or screwdriver, it's time to run.
I would do communications because then I could fly drones and make awesome videos like this.
The best piece of advice that I have ever gotten is try to do your best every day. And that best could be different moment to moment, day to day.
People come first and accounting comes second. I don't want to be so honed in on the numbers that I lose track of the people that we're actually serving.
Get a haircut and take a look at my hair. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So thank you, Mom. Love you.
It won't let me start the video. Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'm Melinda Coleman, the city manager. You met our fabulous management team just a few minutes ago, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background about where we are today and introduce you to our council members and Mayor Abrams. So in the last 2 years, the city has had to make many changes in how we provide public services. We have faced difficult decisions in order to keep the budget neutral. In other words, not raise taxes. And we want to keep our employees and residents safe. We are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And as you will hear from our mayor, we've had a very productive 2021. And I also want to tell you that the economy in Maplewood is strong, with many developments and projects completed in 2021. And through the mayor's State of the City address in just a few minutes, you will hear about some of the projects we will be working on this year as well. Over the last 2 years, the City Council employees have faced several challenges and the ups and downs associated with the COVID pandemic. Throughout my 30+ year career in local government, I've had to deal with countless hard to solve issues and problems, but few, if any, have been on this scale. Advising the mayor on shutting down City Hall to the public and suspending in-person activities was a big decision for all of us. From the very beginning, we established staff and community safety as the very focus of our COVID-related decisions. We relied on the Minnesota Department of Health and the CDC to guide our actions. This winter, when we were confronted with an aggressive uptick in Minnesota's confirmed COVID cases, we knew we needed to take swift action to keep our staff and community safe. We continued to allow many staff to work from home. We had many more Zoom meetings, including City Council and our advisory boards and commissions, and thoughtful, properly spaced public interactions. We also offered free COVID testing for employees and their families on site. We continue to monitor the number of cases per 100,000 daily. Okay, we're continuing to monitor our COVID cases, and we also look at the Department of Health, their benchmark of 50 infections per 100,000 people. And this has helped us to determine when we go to Zoom meetings over live meetings. Hopefully, these numbers will level off soon, and I know you are all hoping the same thing. We see that they are starting to decline now. The pandemic required many big changes, but with the help of IT, Public Works, and all of our department's staff, and the guidance of council, we frequently adjusted to ensure public services continued with safety as our top priority. It's now 2 years later, we're still pivoting and adapting to new COVID strains and risk. We have faced some pretty big challenges, and we believe that we've met them head on. One of our biggest challenges today has been recruiting public safety staff. Despite the complexity of hiring in this environment, we are attracting good talent, but not just at the numbers we want. We continue to adapt to create new hiring practices that cut the recruitment timeframe, and we hope that this will help us hire the very best talent for our community. In spite of these many challenges and obstacles, we have not missed a beat in providing high-quality services to our residents and our business community. In a few moments, Mayor Abrams will highlight that work and also share what's ahead in 2022 and beyond. First, I'd like to thank the senior leadership team, our supervisors, and all of our frontline staff for their commitment, their adaptability, and their strong resolve. We are really fortunate to have such dedicated employees here at the city. I also want to thank Mayor Abrams and our city council who brought their collective experience, their wisdom, and constituent-first approach to keep the city operating at a high level and help us to create a community that is inclusive, engaged, and responsive to our residents' and businesses' needs. It is my pleasure to introduce them at this time. First, Council Member Nikki Villavicencio. She joined our council in 2021. She has been an active participant at city events over the years, and she brings a unique perspective to the city through her disability advocacy work and dedicated service as a liaison to our Heritage Preservation and Parks and Natural Resource Commissions. Next, Councilmember Rebecca Cave also joined council in 2021. But she served on the council from 2006 to 2007 and 2012 to 2013. She is a strong voice for our public safety department and business community, and it is truly a benefit to have her back with us. Prior to joining the council in 2019, Bill Knutson served as the city's EMS task force, and he brings a long career as a healthcare executive to help guide the future of our fire EMS department. He is thoughtful in his approach to business development, finance, and housing issues. Our longest serving member is Kathleen Juneman. She first started here in the city in 2002. She brings a successful mix of common sense, humor, and sometimes just a little bit of cynicism to our debates and decision-making. She is a leader with a voice on environmental issues, passionate about the community and public safety, and has the courage to take a stand for critical community issues or causes. I believe that good leaders tend to be good partners too. Each of these council members make good partners in that they use their individual talents and interests for the betterment of the community and enjoy working with many groups, business leaders, and residents. This is especially true for Mayor Marilee Abrams. She has a clear vision for the city. She knows the strengths and roles we each have to play. It has been a great collaboration working with her these last several years. The mayor actually started on the city council in 2014 and became the mayor in 2019. Together, we have guided the city through several major projects and challenges, and I look forward to a very productive year ahead. Thank you for your service, staff, and council. It is now my pleasure to present Mayor Marilee Abrams, who will now deliver her State of the City address for Maplewood. Thank you all.
We're here at the Maplewood Mall, an odd setting for an official speech, I know. But we chose this location because it represents the city's resilience, its entrepreneurial spirit, and the central point for a thriving new district that combines retail, entertainment, housing, and healthcare. Online retail has shifted the shopping experience. Brick and mortar locations are feeling the brunt, especially malls. But here, mall management has been creative about responding to these transitions. A few years ago, it started an incubator program for local entrepreneurs. The mall offers flexible leasing options and opportunities for business owners to share storefronts. It helps with store design, social media, and marketing. The mall now features about a dozen local businesses that are thriving under the program. This space is just one piece on the North End revisioning. After a 4-year collaborative planning process that involved community members, business leaders, and development consultants, we're eager 2022 will bring physical improvements to the North End. We've been meeting and working with a group that is acquiring land in the North End for redevelopment. Their initial plan is based on Maplewood's recent rezoning and the city's conceptual design for multifamily housing and repurposing existing retail space. It also includes extending St. John's Boulevard, one of the vision plan's highest priorities. Our proactive visioning on North End redevelopment made this an attractive project for the developer. Our community laid the groundwork and provided investors a predictable path forward. I believe the initial success of this project will encourage further development in the North End and help turn a sea of asphalt into a thriving hub for housing, entertainment, shopping, and wider healthcare access. In the Gladstone corridor, the city's investment in streetscaping, walkability, and the redevelopment of Wakefield Park has made the area attractive for further private sector improvements. At least 3 developers are vying for state aid to build a multi-unit development in the area. In 2022, Metro Transit will begin advanced station development on the Purple Line bus rapid transit. The planned Gladstone station along Frost Avenue provides opportunities to redevelop the Moose Lodge property and other underutilized parcels in the area. Toward the south end of town, Gold Line BRT construction begins this year. The line will better connect Maplewood with Woodbury and downtown St. Paul via stations at the 3M campus and Sunray Shopping Center. A little further south, crews will break ground on a 148-unit apartment complex that will help fill our affordable housing needs. The other significant part of this project is that the developer will remain on as the property manager, helping ensure the building is well maintained into the future. The complex is being built at the old London Lane Fire Station site. The property sale is helping offset the cost of the North Fire Station's reconstruction, another exciting development project. The new fire EMS facility replaces a 40-year-old building that no longer met the needs of a modern, full-time staffed department. The new station will be the department's administrative home. It will feature a community gathering space, a 7-unit apparatus bay, modern living quarters for 24-hour staffing, and a workout facility. The design also mitigates cancer-causing job hazards. Construction is on pace to meet the department's anticipated summer occupancy. Like the Old North Station, some of our single-family homes no longer meet modern demands. Instead of a complete knockdown, our Community Development Department is partnering with graduate students from the University of Minnesota's Humphrey School on a collaborative research project. They will study how the city can buy and rehabilitate homes while maintaining Maplewood's naturally occurring affordable housing. As we continue improving Maplewood's housing stock, commercial corridors, and healthcare facilities, I'd like to point out the excellent work our school districts are doing to modernize their buildings to meet 21st century learners' needs. Look around our community. Nearly every school building in the community will see an improvement or complete reconstruction. Great schools are critical to attracting and retaining young families in Maplewood and ensuring we have a well-trained workforce to meet future employment demands. Another partnership that continues paying dividends in building community and reimagining a long-neglected corner of Maplewood is the Let's Revitalize Rice-Larpenter Alliance. Because of the Alliance's significant work in the corridor, Ramsey County is moving up its Rice Street to County Road B reconstruction project. Planning should begin in 2022. Discussions will continue on the G-Line bus rapid transit on Rice Street in 2022 also. This line will better connect parts of Maplewood to downtown St. Paul and points south of the capital city. And I'm eager to participate in one of the many block parties planned for this spring, summer, and fall. They're a great way to meet community members and business owners who live and work in the area. I'm also looking forward to the return of more Maplewood outreach events in our parks and at our apartment complexes. For the past 2 summers, they've been scaled down to accommodate social distancing. We're anticipating more collaboration among public safety, public works, and parks and natural resources at this summer's events. These are awesome opportunities for staff and community members to talk about what's going on in the city, what amenities are valued, and how to best deliver services to a diverse community. Our Parks and Natural Resources Department is emerging from 2 years of transitions, which has positioned it well for the future. Staff is relocated to the Nature Center, allowing the city to open the building during the week. Environmental education programming is returning. Snowshoe rentals and pop-up events are back. We've expanded our partnership with the Maplewood YMCA Community Center to include more recreational programming. And thanks to a new partnership with Rev Sports, we can offer an even wider set of opportunities for children to be active. This summer, Sherwood Park will get a new playground. Goodrich and Harvest Parks will also see improvements. We'll be adding more picnic shelters in our parks. In community survey after community survey, Maplewood's parks, open spaces, and natural resources stewardship consistently receive high marks. And it is critical that we continue investing and maintaining these assets. In the year ahead, we will begin carrying out some of the key tactics in our recently approved Climate Adaptation Plan. It provides tangible actions the city and our partners can take to help us prepare for weather extremes due to climate change. Public Works will break ground on 3 major street construction projects. The McMenemy Street Improvement Project is a full street and curb reconstruction that includes new water mains, storm sewer upgrades, and repairs to the sanitary sewer system. It'll also make the street more pedestrian friendly. Along both Jarvis and Cope, crews will begin rehabilitation projects to repair failing street sections and deteriorating concrete curb and gutter. These projects also include minor upgrades to the storm and sanitary sewer systems and replacement of the cast iron water main in select locations. We'll also bring pedestrian walkways into ADA compliance. These projects demonstrate the city's continued investment in our infrastructure to ensure residents and businesses have access to a well-maintained transportation system and reliable utilities. Development, parks, and well-maintained streets are core functions of local government. And for the most part, our residents give us good marks in these areas. But without a feeling of safety and inclusion, are you really a desirable community? In recent years, our public safety leaders have been intentional about bringing more cohesion and collaboration to police and fire EMS operations. While each maintains its unique role, the departments are partnering more on community outreach and education, mental health services, and training. These efforts have brought an already professional and well-respected department to an even higher level of service delivery. Our community safety and inclusion efforts are among Maplewood's biggest assets. Here are just a few of the many accomplishments and what we're looking forward to in 2022. Since starting 4 years ago, our mental health outreach team has grown from a few officers and community paramedics handling a handful of cases to a full unit that includes 2 embedded Ramsey County social workers, one of which joined the team last December. They now respond to hundreds of calls per year. This is helping connect people in mental health crisis to needed services. The social workers who have access to programming records public safety staff doesn't are better filling gaps in services and cutting down on overlapping responses. On a lighter note, but just as important to creating a welcoming community, are the 2,200 hours of combined community outreach from our police and fire EMS staff. These included an Easter egg hunt, dozens of small gatherings at apartment complexes, a trunk-or-treat Halloween event that attracted a few hundred children and their families, and the Santa Parade, which included 6 special stops and passed more than 25 apartment complexes and senior living facilities. This is in addition to the more than 165 children and seniors who received holiday gifts through the Public Safety Department's Angel Tree program. Ramping up in 2022 will be a victim services unit that will help survivors of loved ones lost in critical incidents such as suicides, homicides, cardiac arrests, overdoses, and SIDS cases. The officer creating the response unit is using her social work background, which includes training and experience in mental health crisis, critical incident debriefing, and grief counseling. In 2022, the Multicultural Advisory Committee will have more interaction with patrol officers, learning more about their day-to-day operations. They'll also continue to be an asset in advising the Public Safety Department on the strategic plan, hiring, and policymaking. All of these efforts have made Maplewood Police and Fire EMS attractive places to work. Because natural retirements, including that of our former police chief, there have been several hiring opportunities. Unlike some cities that struggle to attract officer applicants, Maplewood generally receives significant interest for open positions. Consistently, recruits tell our hiring panels they want to work for Maplewood because it's a diverse department that prioritizes community policing. It is proactive about solving community problems and is focused on preventing crimes. In the last 4 years, this has helped the police department diversify the ranks, increasing the number of women and officers of color by 125%. When it comes to hiring firefighter paramedics that better reflect the community's demographics, traditional recruitment strategies fall short. The pool of pre-certified firefighters of color and women is low. That's why in 2020, Fire EMS started its cadet program. It provides highly motivated employees who possess tremendous work ethic and attitude that show interest in Fire EMS as a career, a chance to enter the profession. The cadet program supports employees as they learn about the profession and earn necessary certifications and licensure to secure full-time employment. It's helped us build a bench that has led to the successful promotion of 2 full-time firefighters in 2021. We've recently hired 2 additional Fire EMS cadets who bring a diversity of skills and life experience to the city. In both departments, our public safety professionals say they appreciate working in Maplewood because they feel supported by our city council, city manager, and the community. On behalf of the community and our council, I'd like to welcome our new officers and fire cadets and continue to pledge my support for Maplewood Public Safety. While Maplewood has worked to recognize and serve our diverse community members, there's a tremendous amount of work ahead to ensure we're serving everyone to our fullest. Last fall, the city expanded the role of our Maplewood Organization for Racial Equity, known as the MORE Team. We knew we needed to expand employee training on diversity, equity, and inclusion, do a better job recruiting and hiring people from the BIPOC community, and offer services in more languages. They hired an equity consultant to help us examine our internal practices and create custom training to help staff better understand the unique needs of serving our specific community. We will also add goals to the city's strategic plan to help ensure people of all backgrounds are well served and have opportunities to thrive. Some of these initiatives will take investments in resources and staff. As it has the last several years, our finance department continues to be excellent stewards of your tax dollars. They've been creative about financing, tools, programs, and resources that support staff in their jobs to serve the community. They've navigated through 2 years of COVID downturns and unexpected expenses. Maplewood's independent ratings agency, S&P Global, recently said in a report of city's finances that we have very strong fiscal management policies and practices. The city's work to ensure a significant surplus and reserve fund has set us up well to recover from the COVID downturn. Despite some interruptions, our DMV, passport, and business licensing counters have continued to serve a critical role connecting folks to the documents needed to legally and safely operate under local, state, and federal standards. We've implemented new technology that has reduced wait times and made the process more convenient for customers. There are a lot of reasons to be optimistic, and I'm excited for the year ahead. Yes, we're in another COVID surge, and there may be others ahead. However, we've proven our resilience. Our team has adapted. We've collaborated with public and private sector partners to maintain our high level of service delivery. Our community continues stepping up, and they've also been instrumental in helping those experiencing hardships. Leaning on strengths and partnerships has helped us through tough times and has guided the city to great successes as we anticipate in 2022. While many of these successes were years in the making, they proceeded through the development, design, and implementation stages efficiently. As mayor, I'm proud of that. Our staff tends to vet projects and initiatives well, working out potential pitfalls and stakeholder objections. They present the community, our commissions, and council a solid starting point to move ahead. Of course, we've had vigorous debates, revisions, and further discussions on almost every project. Generally, though, Maplewood doesn't get bogged down by ideological bickering or gamesmanship. What's best for the community guides the process. I believe that's why we've made tremendous progress reshaping and modernizing the city, advancing our parks and open space, and leading the way in public safety. I'm optimistic for 2022. I look forward to expanding our existing partnerships, especially with the school districts, healthcare providers, and development community. I'm eager to forge new relationships as the city looks at how to provide services that will meet future needs. On behalf of our council and leadership team, I'd like to thank our frontline workers who keep the city running smoothly. I'd like to thank our various stakeholders for your input in decision-making, and a big thanks to our community members for your ongoing support and participation in city events.
And lastly, I'd like to thank the Maplewood Mall for letting us set up a couple of Fridays ago to shoot that video. It was tremendous, and we had a lot of energy in the room. I knew I was going to forget some folks. White Bear Chamber, St. Paul Area Chamber also partners on the call today. At this time, I'd like to invite the mayor to open up her camera and her microphone so we could start the Q&A. Right now, we don't have a whole lot of questions in there. We have a couple to get us started. Madam Mayor and our Community Development Director, Jeff Thompson, if you could weigh in on this question, we'd let the mayor go first. Around the mall, we talked about the mall, we talked about the incubator program, we talked a bit about the North End. Is there anything more you could say about what's going on at the mall, the incubator program, and what to expect there in the next couple of 18 months to 2 years? Mary, you were live, we could see you, so.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Great question about the mall. I'll start with talking a little bit about what's happening around the mall. Some of you know, or at least have observed, that we have, we're ready for some chicken wars just outside the mall. We have Chick-fil-A, and we also have Raising Cane's that will be opening shortly. I have learned that Raising Cane was working on getting staff in order to be able to open up, but they've got their certificate of occupation. And so we should be having some chicken wars coming up soon. That's happening just outside of the mall. Behind the mall at Birch Run Station, there you will be seeing some really significant changes. That particular shopping mall has changed hands, and there are plans that the new mall owners are working on with our city staff that will be actually taking part of that mall down and replacing it with new housing opportunities in our city. I know that we're really looking forward to that. That was one of that I see as one of the really big initial things that's going to be happening. As I indicated in the video, that St. John's Boulevard, which right now is kind of the road that goes nowhere, is there's going to be a lot of infrastructure work there. So that is happening. I think coming up in the spring, you'll start seeing some things. You may have already recognized that some of the shops that are in Birch Run have closed, and that's in anticipation that some of that is going to be coming down and new housing opportunities will happen. And that whole sea of asphalt is going to be transformed into housing and more green space and connectivity. So that's really exciting. As I indicated in my State of the City address, the mall is working with new entrepreneurs so that they can initiate businesses and get things going which really is an exciting opportunity. You probably have also noticed that St. John's Hospital is transforming. They are turning into a tertiary hospital, and that is a really exciting prospect for us. There's going to be a new cath lab. They're building up on that site. Some of you probably saw that happening this last summer. There's some pretty exciting things that are going on. You know, in terms of what else is happening in the mall, I know I have reached out to Seritage. They are the owners of Sears. I know that city staff is also working with the mall. Maybe Jeff Thompson, our community development director, is on the line as well. Jeff, do you want to add a couple of things that you know from your work with the mall?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thanks for the question about the Maplewood Mall and the surrounding area. I think the mayor, both in your speech and your comments, have really well covered both the things that have already happened and the excitement of change that's happening, as well as kind of the near and longer term investments that we expect. I would add, just for the mall itself, I know Paula Mueller's on the call. She's the manager of the mall and does, you know, is really innovative and leading kind of the investment in the mall itself and what malls are becoming in terms of supporting small businesses and those incubator businesses that you highlighted, but also doing events and doing kind of special events that are reflective of the community and doing those throughout the year. And also kind of adding tenants in the mall that kind of create that experience. We know malls are successful when they kind of have experiences and entertainment and not just shopping. And they've done that not only in the events they do, but also in some of the tenants. For example, the sustainable safari that's there has been very successful. Has expanded over the last couple of years because they've been really drawing a lot of traffic and people to that mall. So I think it's reflective in the food court. I know the food court gets really good reviews. It's local businesses as well as that are there that provide a diversity of types of food and gets well received. So we know the mall's doing the right things in terms of their management and their leasing, and we want to be able to support St. John's Hospital, the mall, and create that thriving district in those kind of near-term investments and working with Seritage, who we are talking to for those longer-term developments that will really be more transformative and support the retail and entertainment, but also the healthcare industry that we know is out there.
Thanks. And one other thing too that we haven't mentioned is that the city partnered with the mall in order to help them. We did a grant from our ARPA funds in order for the mall to enhance security out there, which I think is an important thing for all of us. So we are definitely focused on the mall and the North End.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We have a couple of questions coming in now. We appreciate that. One of the questions is from our friends of our Maplewood Nature. Thank you for your efforts to preserve the grassland on Century next to Battle Creek Park, and thank you for beginning to bring activities back to the Maplewood Nature Center. Could someone on the line, I don't know if it's the mayor or Audra Martin at this time, talk a little bit about some of the new activities? I know the Friends are planning some activities out there in the spring, and we appreciate that. And the other question that's part of this is with this ongoing conversation around what to do with some of the land that we've talked about in that 77-acre parcel by the sort of on Century Avenue. I don't know if the mayor could comment on that, if Mr. Thompson could comment on that.
Certainly, maybe what I'll do is I'll start with the two properties in South Maplewood, because I know that that's a topic that I get a lot of questions about. And certainly from my perspective, those properties are legacy properties for our community. And I think we have to be very intentional on taking care of those properties. Some of you, let's talk about the northern property, which is undeveloped. It is the property that is closest to the correctional facility there. There was an environmental study that was done, and that you can find that on our city's website. I think it's clear that from an environmental perspective is a very important piece of property. And I certainly am very interested in maintaining that property. In terms of the Ponds Golf Course, I get a lot of questions about that as well. Some of you might have seen in the newspaper that there were 3 proposals that the county received for development of the Ponds Golf Course. And the county rejected all 3 proposals and have pivoted and turned to talking with the city about our intentions and what we would like to do, since we are the zoning authority for both of those properties. And really my goal is to work with the county in further discussions, and in the short term is looking at what needs to be done. And my goal would really be to try to keep that open this next year as a golf course, so that we can engage in conversations with the county, meaningful conversations about the future of that property. But one thing that is definitely pressing is the fact that golf courses need to be maintained. And I understand from looking at this particular issue that maintenance of golf courses generally starts in March or April, depending on our weather. And so we really need to keep that in the forefront so that we can protect that legacy property. And in having my goal as being continuing the golf course for the next year, that will give us time so that our council can have some discussions about the property, and we can then also engage in discussions with Ramsey County. And those kinds of discussions just take time. So maybe what we can do is we can turn over to Audra, and she can talk a little bit about some of the things that are coming as our weather gets warmer. I know that we've got snowshoeing available and some other fun and exciting things. But Audra, do you want to maybe weigh in on that?
Sure, Mayor. Just making sure everyone can hear me. And one thing that we are doing is we have started a partnership with District 622 Community Ed, and we're working with them to start offering nature programming at the Nature Center again. And we've got quite a few classes already scheduled starting in April. Just to give you an idea of some of them, there are going to be bird hikes, native garden classes, some environmental education fun classes for families and young kids. And let's see, they have a program on dragonflies and other things. So they'll be having that. And actually, one of our former naturalists is going to be out working through community ed and offering some of those programs on site here at the Nature Center. And then we work with Urban Roots. They're an organization, and they're a partner of ours out at Harvest Park. And they are doing a native pollinator garden on some of the land at the park. And they're going to be offering sessions for the public on pollinator planting this spring. And then in the fall, they're going to do a native seed harvesting program to teach people about planting natives. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming up there. So we're happy to have some environmental education programs coming back, where it's still a work in progress, but we are talking with other groups to see what we can have offered here at the Nature Center. We're in talks with Ramsey County 4-H and other groups. So we're excited for more partnerships as we go along.
Okay, thank you, Audra. One of the other questions that we've gotten, and this is a problem that's cropping up all over the Twin Cities area, is the homelessness issue. It's a pretty long question, but basically it says, we know there's certain encampments that have been sort of moved, other things are popping up. What are we doing as a city to try to, and I see Chief Mondor is answering this on the fly in the Q&A. But I know, Mayor, we worked a lot on this. We've worked with the county on this, and the fire and police department, along with our health inspectors, are trying to work as diligently as possible. I don't know if there's anything to add beyond that. And
certainly, thank you very much. You know, I can speak a little bit to this. I am on the governing board of Heading Home Ramsey, which is the continuum of care. It is a group of leaders in this area working on this whole issue of homelessness. And homelessness is a very complex issue, because behind it, there may be other underlying issues such as chemical dependency, mental health issues, et cetera. And so I have recently had meetings with city staff about it, about what we need to do, because my goal really is to be compassionate. We need to utilize the 2 social workers that we have embedded in our police department so that we can access housing and resources to come alongside and help individuals. We certainly want to keep everyone safe. Chief Mondor, maybe, well, and I can also say that, you know, our building inspector, Molly Wellens, and Steve Lucan, who works part-time with our fire department now, are both out there working in terms of coming alongside and really helping to solve this issue. It's something I can tell you that is being experienced all over the metro area. It isn't just in Maplewood. When I speak with other mayors, they're experiencing the same kinds of issues. There will be some important initiatives up at the legislature because some of the ARPA funds that were used to create 100 beds for homeless and unsheltered in Ramsey County, that money is going to be, all used up by, I believe, May. And so we're turning to our legislature for additional help with that. We are looking at what other kinds of resources we can bring to bear on this problem. It's a heartbreaking issue, and we're certainly, on top of it. We've got great staff who are working on this. But maybe Chief Mondor, you want to weigh in on this as well?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Abrams. I mean, I can't put it much better than what you just summarized there, but the fire department, community development department, and our embedded social workers and mental health outreach team have worked tirelessly over the past couple of years to try to address the unsheltered populations in the community. Homelessness is there's a lot of systemic issues that make homelessness difficult to address. We're trying to create a system that's fair and compassionate and respectful to those that are experiencing shelter insecurities, while also trying to maintain the livability of the community and the needs that our business owners and residents have. So we monitor all of the encampments and try to connect them with housing, and we'll be working over the next couple of weeks. We just met with the mayor and city leadership a couple weeks ago to try to come up with a strategy that can help come to a resolution on these encampments in a more rapid manner. And it is difficult as they continue to pop up throughout the community, but we are dedicating a significant amount of staff resources to try to address homelessness in a way that's respectful to those in the community and those experiencing homelessness.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Mondor. This question from Sean is actually well-timed. Last night at our council meeting, we talked about this. What steps are being taken to minimize disruptions of businesses on Cope Avenue during the improvement project? And when are some more specific scheduling information going to be made available? I believe that our Public Works Director is on the call, Steve Love, if you're there. Can you give us some updates on that? I know we talked that extensively last night at our council meeting. If the mayor wants to jump in too while we're waiting for Steve.
I just want to say that staff does a fabulous job of keeping our residents updated when there is a road project in their neighborhood. And my question to Mr. Love last night was, can you explain what we're doing to assist our businesses? Because they need to be able to conduct business while we need to take care of the streets. And so Mr. Love had a very detailed response about what we're doing to keep our businesses updated on the 3 projects. So Mr. Love, do you want to explain that?
Sure, Mayor. So for this year, we're going to have a specific staff member be dedicated to coordination with the businesses on these projects. The projects will be done with full access under traffic, and we communicate with property owners a number of ways through different neighborhood meetings, monthly updates, weekly updates on our website. And then, like I said, we're going to be having a staff member that's actually just dedicated to working with the businesses. As far as the schedule goes, once we have bid out the projects and we have awarded a contractor, we will hold what's called a pre-construction meeting where we meet with the contractor to lay out the schedule, and then that will be sent out to all property owners.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Love. This one question, actually, I could probably tackle this, but Mayor, if you want to jump in as well. Thank you for speaking about diversity. Do you have any specific goals, metrics we're working toward? Right now, the city is working with an outside consultant called Common Sense Solutions at Work. We're doing several employee interviews. We're doing several department head interviews. We're also then going to reach out to the community and do focus groups with the community. I know the mayor has her faith coalition that she works with. The police department have the multicultural advisory committee that they work with. Over the next 18 months, we're putting these steps in place. It'll include a training, and then it'll include it will include sort of revised steps to our city's strategic plan that will incorporate in the next 18 months. We know this is an important issue. Our city is really changing in diversity. We've gone from 8% people who identify as Asian Pacific Islander to 19% people who identify as Asian Pacific Islander. So we know there's a large influx of people coming who are new to our community, and we want to make sure our city staff mirrors our community as best as possible. If the mayor or anyone else wants to weigh in.
Thanks, Joe. I think that's a really timely update. I just want to make sure that everyone realizes that we have from the City Council, we have 6 strategic priorities. And the very first one is community inclusiveness. And I'll show you, this is my council packet from last night, and it is on the back of the council packet. This really is the roadmap that all the council members that this really guides us in all of our decision making. And I'll read it for you. It says, community inclusiveness. Create a city where everyone is valued and respected, and celebrate our strengths as a diverse, multicultural,